What's going on, everybody? It is a Friday, our first Friday show. It's one of those things where, like, you really want to do it, and then whenever it's time to do it, you're like, Jesus Christ, should I just take a day off? This week and weekend are going to be so damn busy for me. But you know what? It's good. This right here is like my therapy couch, right? A lot of the times you'll hear people be like, "Oh, I do my show for other people because they need it," and blah 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 blah. This time I need it. I need it. Thank you all for being a part of today's show, a part of the stress relief that is my life, at least. That's why I always try to stay away from those other topics that are out there. Like, I have other platforms where I can record stuff like that, where I can do those things. This right here is more of the let's just have some fun. Let's see what happens with things. If you're watching on YouTube, on Facebook, on X, I went ahead and shared the link out there. You want to be a part of the show, click the link. Come join me. We're just going to talk about football today, or whatever it is that you want to talk about. It is our Free for All Friday. Got Tommy Carranza saying good morning, Tip. Good morning to you, Tommy. It's a Friday, man. Yesterday, like my whole schedule was like, look, I'm going to do the show. I'm helping launch some other podcasts, so I was recording with those people, and then it was just going to be a nice chill afternoon, right? Then I get a message from one of my friends. He owns a bar, La Bang Bang, and I'm like, oh, you know what? I'll go check out La Bang Bang. I went downtown to go check out La Bang Bang. It was their celebration of the repeal of prohibition. So everyone's out there dressed up, and I'm like, hell yeah, this is going to be a good ass time. Then I get a message from UTEP women's basketball saying, hey, do you want to come out and cover the game? Normally, I don't like going to the games just to be there for the games. I like to have a plan. I like to tell more of a story about individuals than I do about the game itself. We all know what the X's and O's are. We all know what the scores are. So I was kind of like, but it was against BYU. That's going back in the past for what was a rivalry for such a long time. So I said, you know what? Let's give it a shot. Go on out there. The crowd should have been better, at least in my mind, should have been better. I get that it's a Thursday. I get, all these things about it. But Jesus, man, like, go out there, support UTEP women's basketball. They're 4-1 on the season up until yesterday. BYU 6-2 in the season, about to get ranked. That game should have been one of those like top-notch games that you actually go out there and care about. Me, not a big fan of the broadcast. I feel like we're always lacking with the UTEP sports broadcasts. A lot of people are like, why don't you do something about it? I've tried. I've reached out to people. I've done things. I've wanted to do a couple more things with UTEP. We'll see. Maybe one day, whenever they don't think that I'm so much of an asshole, maybe they'll allow your boy to do some stuff with them, right? I did PA for soccer. I did PA for hockey. Never watched a hockey game before in my life, and I did PA for UTEP hockey. How crazy is that? Jesus. The more I think about it, like, why do I do these things sometimes? Jesus, man. But that was a fun time going out there, seeing UTEP women's basketball. I love seeing Keitha Adams back. Like, in my mind, she should have never left. I understand why she left, but in my mind, she should have never left. But having Keitha Adams back here for UTEP, that's awesome. Today, I'm going to try. I've made my mind up. Like, I'm not going to do much today. Might take the kids out to eat. I wanted to go to Topgolf. Then I walked outside and was like, I ain't doing that shit. Like, it is entirely way too cold. I lived in Alaska. I lived in Connecticut. And I am freezing my ass off today. You will notice that I have a little stronger. I'm speaking more of the way that I always speak. I'm not on Roku today. I see that Linda McGrath has tuned in, our friends over at National Streaming Sports. And that's what I love about them, man, is I'm not on Roku today. I'm not on the National Streaming Sports channel today. My deal is only Monday through Thursday. And here we have Linda over here showing a little bit of love. Linda, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Do not judge me too harshly on what I've been saying so far. They haven't canceled me yet. They haven't kicked me off yet. So that's got to be a good sign. Also, I hope that Mac gets better soon. The Mac and Jack show taking a quick hiatus right now. while Mac tries to recover from some illnesses. Now, this weekend, I'm super excited because we've got a lot going on in the sports world, right? We have a ton, just an absolute ton of games that are going on in college football. SEC championship games, ACC championship games. Will these losses for the teams that are in them, will they impact the standings, right? A lot of people are saying that there's no scenario that the number 12 seed Miami gets in. But my question to that would be, what happens? And I've got to double check on this because I've got to make sure that I got these things right. That shows you this. All this stuff just came to my mind. Jesus Christ. Like, this stuff just came to my mind right now. What happens if you have Texas beating Georgia in the SEC championship game? Currently, the way that it stands right now, you have a 3-loss Alabama that's going to get into the college football playoff. A 3-loss Alabama is going to get like there's nothing that can happen that should change the seedings of a team like Miami or not Miami, of Alabama. The worst that can happen to them is that they stay where they are. Best case scenario, they move up a couple of spots. But if Texas beats Georgia, how do you justify allowing 2 3-loss SEC teams into the college football playoff over teams like Miami that are 10-2? How do you justify that, right? So it would take, in my mind, the scenario that Miami gets into the college football playoff would be that Texas beats Georgia in the SEC championship game. And then I'm hearing all these different scenarios that are out there about the ACC championship game. What happens if Clemson beats SMU? Well, then that just means SMU's out. And that sucks bad for SMU, their first year in the ACC, because they would be 11-2 on the season and then more than likely out. Clemson would just get in over them. Again, it comes down to, how do you justify who's allowed to get in, who's allowed to get out, right? I don't get and I don't understand fully what it is that the college football committee is doing, what they're watching, what they see that's so different than what we see. Because if you're watching Georgia this year, you're not impressed with Georgia. If you're watching Alabama this year, you're not impressed with Alabama. They're just getting in based off their name, right? Notre Dame has the most inexplicable loss this year. Obviously, it was earlier in the season, and they say if you're going to lose in college football, lose early, right? Maybe that's the problem that happened to Miami, is they lost 2 out of their last 3. One was against a ranked team. One was against a Georgia Tech team that took Georgia, who's the number, 9 team in the country? Number 5 team in the country. Took Georgia to the limit just last week. How do you, and then like you're justifying having Indiana in, saying that the Big Ten is a deeper conference than the ACC, but Indiana has, once again, the 106th ranked power strength of schedule in all of Division I. I need to look up what like UTEP's strength of schedule was. Okay, so I was wrong. There's actually apparently only 134 Division I teams. I'm going to try to like look through here, find out where UTEP ranks among all of these schools. So at the start of the season, Indiana had the 106th ranked strength of schedule, 106th out of 134. UTEP strength of schedule, the University of Texas at El Paso, their strength of schedule that featured teams like Southern Utah State University, UTEP's strength of schedule was 99th. Somehow, some way, a Conference USA team had a tougher strength of schedule than the number 9 team in the country in Indiana. And the only game that Indiana played that had any meaning at all, they got their ass handed to them, chopped off, put on a platter, and given to you. Here is thine ass, sir. And yet, somehow, some way, they are getting more respect out of just being a Big Ten school than a team like Miami is, who, again, their losses are to 2 actually pretty damn good teams. Georgia Tech, pretty damn good team. We might even see them in the Sun Bowl this year. I don't grasp this concept of what the college football committee is doing. And you know what? They're doing their job. Whatever their job is to just make people talk, right? Make people think about what the hell is going on in college sports. And they've done it. This has been a talking point, and I'm sure people are tired of hearing me talk about it, although I don't think I've talked about it all that much. Wednesday, yes. Today, a little bit. I don't know if I even spoke about it on Tuesday or Thursday. Maybe it was Wednesday that I waited to just address it, right? Wednesday, because that's whenever the rankings came out. But whatever it is, they're getting people to talk about it, and maybe that's what it's all about, right? Like, it's a made-for-TV action that people wanted to see. And that's why I said, instead of having this arbitrary system of where it's only 12 teams, why don't we just make it the top 25? And to me, the top 25 being in like a bowl playoff would be so much more fun than, again, watching Bowling Green or whoever the hell comes from the MAC conference taking on the 18th ranked school out of Conference USA or the Sun Belt, right? Obviously, those schools depend on the money you get from making those bowls. NCAA makes enough money that they can supplement the money that those teams get. You win your conference, you become what we would consider bowl eligible. Hell, create a secondary bowl series and just get the hell over it, but make these main bowls what people actually care about. Do you mean to tell me that all of us would be upset if there were more college football games? No. You would have people on ESPN just, I was going to say a phrase that I don't think I should say, but I'm not on TV today. I'm doing this show. It's me with y'all. It's 8:00 in the morning. I will just go ahead and say it. You will have executives at ESPN and any one of these major college TV networks having an explosion of ejaculate, just like a volcano was erupting, frothing up into the air, thinking about how much they'd be able to get more college football on TV. A pyroclastic blast of ejaculate would shoot up into the air just because of what college football would mean in getting more money for people like ESPN, for ABC, for NBC, for CBS, and etc. More football is going to be a great thing. So why not let's just create more damn football? We do not care. As righteous as people want to pretend, we do not care about these athletes and their bodies until their body is no longer useful. Damar Hamlin died on a football field less than 3 years ago, was revived, and now we're all like, oh, that's cool, he got an interception. Instead of thinking to ourselves, Jesus Christ, what if that happens again? Tua Tagovailoa gets knocked smooth the hell out, and we all sit there and say to ourselves, he loves the game, he wants to play it, right? It's until the moment that they get hurt that we see that they are no longer of use to our entertainment that we care about these players. It is simply a transaction. So instead of hiding it and instead of trying to pretend like it's not something we talk about, let's just pull back the damn curtain like the Wizard of Oz and let it be what it is. Go out there and play for me. Go out there and keep me entertained. In the gladiator sport that is football, go out there and keep me entertained, and I will give you the thumbs up or the thumbs down on your execution. I probably tripped a lot of people out. That's as far as I could bend my arm. It's weird. Is it like that, but I feel like I'm turning my body too much that way. I don't know. Part of breaking wrists and all other kinds of things. I'm learning things about my body. Like the other day, like my fingers. See, like that, it doesn't look bad. Like this, it looks pretty damn effed up. That's as straight as I can get my hands. And all the comment sections and these things like, you never played sports. That would say otherwise. But I'm just so tired of us trying to pretend that sports are not a transaction, that sports mean more, that college sports especially means more now. It doesn't. Maybe back in the day, the amateur status and all that stuff meant something, but it doesn't mean a goddamn thing anymore. Let's pull back the damn curtain. Let's stop pretending like we're holier than thou, and let's just get down to what the basics are. We want to be entertained. We, as the people who consume sports, just simply want to be entertained. So get out there and entertain me. Give me something that makes me care about it. I don't want to think. I don't want to sit back and say, well, that's not fair for whatever is happening with over here, because I know in reality, there ain't a damn thing in this life that's fair. So why is it that instead of saying, we'll go from 4-team college playoff, why not just have a 25 team single elimination tournament? I've already laid it out. The top 7 teams get a bye week, so that gives you something to play for. And then you have 25 opportunities for teams to get in there. And if you're not good enough to be in the top 25, hell, we don't want to watch you. You don't deserve to be on our TV in front of us. I love Texas Tech. I love UTEP. And I sit there and I hate watch every single game because I have to. The morbid purgatory hell that I have to live in watching UTEP games and watching Texas Tech. Do you know what that's like, knowing that you are going to spend your day watching teams lose and then try to make something out of it to where it's like, you know what? It was close. And now the Dallas Cowboys do the same damn thing to me. I hate that I love them. Probably hate them. I probably hate that I love them more than I hate that I love anything else. I finally learned the meaning of it. Like I was watching the Cowboys game and they win against Washington and then they win against New York and they give me their hope. And instead of being happy, I'm sitting there disappointed that we won, because I'm like, oh, wow, this is how my parents felt whenever I was like, I'm going to go do radio after leaving the military. And my dad, whenever I went to ESPN, was like, you're still doing that hobby? I understand that. Like, I get it. I totally get it. I totally understand. I'm just knowing that you're going to be disappointed. That must have been how they felt when they adopted me. Knowing that, knowing that you're just walking into a game where you're going to be disappointed, it sucks. So let's be entertained. Let's just have the top 25 play against each other. Who cares how many games they have to play? Let's be honest here, right? If the sport is going to evolve into this professional style of sports where we no longer have amateurism, and I'm paying you a certain amount of money out of NIL to get your ass on the field, then you better have your ass on the field. If all it's going to take is an additional maybe 4 games, okay, so you play another month. Instead of waiting, 3 weeks in between bowl games, instead of waiting that period, let's start knocking them out. Like just that simple. More football in our veins. Get the mid-majors the hell out of here. Get all of the teams that none of us care about the hell out of here. Give them their own little trophy that they can post up and they can put in their little trophy cases and a banner they can hang in their stadium. Give them whatever the hell they want, an NIT style tournament for them, the teams that don't matter. Give them their own little tournament, and then we can go on our merry little way. But the way it is right now, I'm tired of pretending like we should care about whether or not it's fair that a team like Boise State gets to represent themselves in the college football playoff. Boise State will not win a championship. They will not win a national championship. Obviously, I'm rooting for the chaos of that because I would love to see Arizona State versus Boise State, or I guess it wouldn't be that way because they would play each other in the second round, but Boise State versus Indiana in the NCAA National Championship game on ESPN and laugh at them because no one would watch that damn game. Man, I feel like I'm getting fired up. It's a little too early for me to be fired up this much. I wanted to talk about like professional football. I have the schedules. I got all this stuff here. I was going to give my tip six because I didn't give my tip six yesterday, and I got to record that stuff and put it out there because I'm trying to get a sponsorship with my friends over at Bovada.lv, which I also don't know how that's going to work because we don't have legalized sports betting in Texas because we're Texas and we're just super weird with the way that we do things. One day. Like, I don't even care about, like, the legalization of marijuana. Just give me sports gambling, please. We have casinos. we have a lottery. Why can't we just have sports betting in Texas? Jesus Christ. And I apologize that y'all had to hear the phlegm in my throat. I'm probably making it worse because I'm drinking coffee instead of drinking tea. So, or maybe it just sounds sexier. Is that what it is? The people that are out there still watching. Is it sexy? Do you find me sexy? I was going to go full fat bastard like, oh, do you find me sexy? Oh, God, who allowed me to do this stuff? Okay. So yesterday, and Tommy Cananza is one of the people that was tuned in yesterday and got to see me be loud wrong. I think I want to create like imaging or a sounder or something like that whenever I'm loud wrong. I've got no problem with accountability. I feel like sports shows in general lack accountability. To me, I always said whenever I started my show back in 2018 that I was going to make sure that I held myself accountable to my listeners. Whether or not y'all care, doesn't matter to me. I'm going to hold myself accountable. Whenever I'm wrong, I will say I am wrong. I was wrong about the Dallas Cowboys being as terrible as they are. about being my power bottom in the NFL last week. That was also just a bit. I actually had them as the 10th team. I decided it would be funnier if I just moved them up, pulling the curtain back, right? But I always want to hold myself accountable. And yesterday I said that there was no way in hell that Vegas had the line right. By the time the game started, the Detroit Lions were a 3.5-point favorite. And I told you, hammer the Detroit Lions in this game because I thought they were going to win by minimum touchdown. I didn't think it was going to be close. You have no idea how angry I was with like 10 seconds left and they're at the 27-yard line that they just didn't throw it to the end zone and hope, right? Like let's just see what happens. Living on the edge. Everyone talks about the enormity of Dan Campbell's testicular area because he's got to be carrying them sons of bitches in a wheelbarrow with the way that he calls football games. How come he didn't just pass it to the end zone to try to win by a touchdown? And it's just me and my bias. I was wrong because the game winds up being 34-31 on a last-second field goal that goes right through. Jared Goff on my fantasy team helping me out a ton. But Jesus. Medusa Design saying, hey, good morning. I didn't know you were on Fridays also. First one. This is the first one I'm doing on Fridays. I'm going to try to get in the habit of every Friday doing this. It's just sometimes it gets a little difficult for me. So instead of starting at 8 o'clock today, I decided I was going to start at 8:30. The Friday shows, I believe, will just be 8:30 from now on. And then I don't even know what time it's going to end. It ends whenever it ends. It ends whenever I get tired of talking. So more than likely midnight. I've got stuff to do today. I'm not going all the way that long. But yes, our first Friday show. We're not on Roku today, so I get to say, or I get to be a little different, not so over the top, buttoned up professional, worrying about the things that I say. So I think I have dropped an F-bomb. I said the pyroclastic blast of ejaculate. I think I'm going to cut that up and put that on Instagram just to see. If you don't follow me on Instagram, you got to at Mr. Tipton 33. Thinking about having a bunch of maybe giveaways and things like that. I'm working with the Texas Rangers to see about getting tickets to give away for them. I had tickets all of last year that I gave away, but it wasn't on this show. I want to try to find a way to work that out again with the Texas Rangers. I have a great partnership with Major League Baseball. I cannot thank them enough, allowing me to go to the Major League Major League Baseball All-Star Game and Home Run Derby and all the cool stuff. With that, Medusa Designs asking, how's the commercial coming along? I get it finished up today. The song that I was going to use wound up having to change a couple of things with it just because there were some proprietary issues with it. I ran it through a software and it showed up that there was rights that had to be paid for it, and I'm not going to pay for music rights. So now I've got to try to find some other stuff, but the commercial should be done hopefully by the end of today. It's a little bit busy for me, but I'm trying to get that commercial done. I have the one that's going to be, a little more professionally done for the Roku channel, and then the one that I'm going to be putting out on my Instagram that I basically use as an OnlyFans anyway. Pictures of my feet. Tommy Cananza saying that his Green Bay upset almost came true, but Dan Campbell has grapefruit-sized nuts and went for it on 4th and short with 40 seconds left. Yeah, man. I mean, Dan Campbell, you're right. He has happy nuts right now. He deserves the happiest of nuts. He's got to carry them sons of bitches again in a wheelbarrow. Like they've just got to be there in front of him. Maybe he's got like a lift, right? Like one of those lifts that they have to pull the engine out of a car. He's just got them strapped around. Obviously, it's a nice soft strap because you don't want them things to be damaged. But he's got a nice strap. I was going to say he's got it strapped on. Jesus Christ, man. It is entirely way too early for my bullshit. It really is. But he's got his enormous sack. The Santa Claus size sack just in a sleigh ahead of him, being pulled by reindeer as he waves to the crowd of adoring fans because his nuts are just that much bigger and that much happier than everyone else's nuts. I saw it yesterday. One of my friends put out on Facebook and was like, the next coach that the Dallas Cowboys have needs to be like Dan Campbell. Mike McCarthy goes for it on time to time. They just don't make it. It's not just a Dan Campbell thing, right? Like it's the identity of the team. The Lions simply want it more. You can tell that team is playing at a different level right now, like a different level of like, we need this. There's a difference between wanting it and needing it. And you can tell the Detroit Lions are in that mindset right now of we need this. The entire world is always against Detroit Lions. We've been a laughingstock for over 100 years. This is our time. I didn't get to talk about this on the show last week, but the Lions being 10-1 going into Thanksgiving, the Lions being 10-1 going into Thanksgiving was the first time the Lions had been 10-1 since 1934. 1934. 7 years before the United States entered World War II. To put that in perspective, my dad, who is 94 years old now, was 4 years old then. The last time the Detroit Lions had a 10-1 start to a season. That shows you the ineptitude that the Lions have been for, well, the better part, rather, of a century. Almost 100 years. Every other team has had multiple 10-1 seasons in that time frame, at least if they've been around long enough. The Detroit Lions, Jesus Christ, the Detroit Lions, I'm laughing over here. I'll let you know why in a second. People amaze me is all I'm going to say. But the Detroit Lions having to go back before the invention of modern radio, before the invention of the ballpoint pen that happened in 1935, the Detroit Lions having to go that far back to see this level of success shows you what could be one of the motivators for them, right? It's kind of like going back to 2016 with the Chicago Cubs. You had a team here that had 108 years of losing in between championships of 108 years, and their entire mindset was, we are going to break this curse. That, to me, is more than likely what the mindset is, and is what the mindset should be for this Detroit Lions team. The way they are constituted right now, this will be the last year that this group is together. Coaching staff, players, this is the last time, because they cannot sustain this. They're going to lose Ben Johnson at the end of this season. They're more than likely going to lose Aaron Glenn at the end of this season. They're going to have teams poaching players from them out of free agency this offseason. This is their last hurrah with this group of people to be able to do this. And that, to me, is what's got to be one of those motivators, right? We sit here and we look at sports and we always say the money should be what motivates you. The money is what motivates a lot of these players. But on this Detroit Lions team, they want to win this for Detroit. They want to win this for themselves. Hell, the story of Jared Goff taking the Los Angeles Rams to the playoffs, losing in his second season to Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, and the greatest dynasty we have witnessed, for them to win their 6th Super Bowl in what was a closer game than what most would have thought. I think it was 13-10. For him to be just jettisoned out and sent over to Detroit, traded for Matt Stafford. Everyone thought that was the end of Jared Goff's career. And he has this resurgence where he's built himself back up into being a starting quarterback at the caliber that he's played. That's just such a great story, man. Like you want to see stories like that, seeing people get through the adversity of what was thrown their way. It's not that Jared Goff was a bad quarterback. He took a team to the Super Bowl. And now look what he's doing in Detroit, the most accurate quarterback in the league this year. Tommy Cananza saying that he wants Ben Johnson in Dallas. He hopes that he has Dan's nuts. It's like the Buddha, right? Like maybe on his way out as he's leaving Detroit, he just rubs the nuts. he just rubs the nuts for good luck. Probably shouldn't have done that hand motion. He rubs the nuts for good luck on his way out of Detroit. And maybe some of the magical powers that are encased in that nutsack transfer over to him. And he winds up becoming the greatest Dallas Cowboys coach of all time. Tommy, I hadn't even thought of this until you brought it up the other day. Like, if they continue to win and if they make the playoffs, if they keep Mike McCarthy. And now that's just like that voice in the back of my head back here just being like, they make the playoffs, we might miss out on Ben Johnson. And like, it can't be. It cannot be this way. And I am going to be hopeful that Mike McCarthy loses his job. What an asshole thing of me to say. But I am going to be hopeful that no matter what happens this year, short of winning the Super Bowl, you have no idea how many people took that post seriously yesterday, by the way. Short of winning the Super Bowl, I don't see a scenario that Mike McCarthy is brought back. We need Ben Johnson in Dallas. And they will more than likely sign Nick Sirianni. Just the Cowboys doing the most cowboy thing ever. They would trade all future draft picks to Philadelphia to get the mastermind that is Nick Sirianni and his stupid face. Nick Sirianni has the dumbest face of any human being I've ever seen in my life. And I look in the mirror every day. I have to look up in this camera because right under the camera is me. Right over to this side is more of me, and then me on the other screens that I'm trying to monitor to see what's going on here. I know what a dumb face looks like. And Nick Sirianni, he's got one. I'm an asshole. Jesus. But it's a fun time. I'm having a good time with it. I hope you guys are having a good time with it as well. Again, not a lot of structure on this Friday show. I'm debating on whether or not I want to just have it as free as it has been. But we'll see. We'll see. All right, so I'll get into the schedule here. We're going to do schedule talk. In the NFL, we had the rematch from a Thursday night football game a couple of weeks ago that I said was going to be absolute dog shit. And it wasn't. It was a really good football game. The Browns beat the Pittsburgh Steelers in Cleveland in a snowstorm that happened in the third quarter. We got to get Jameis Winston saying, "The Lord has blessed me to play in some snow." A great gif. Also, one of the things that people talk about whenever they get a Tony Montana-sized mountain of cocaine right in front of them and just start skiing down the slopes, baby. Woo! Love me some Jameis Winston. But we get the matchup between the Browns and the Steelers. The Browns can't do it again, can they? They cannot sweep the series against Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh. Russell Wilson is playing for legacy right now. The Pittsburgh Steelers are, again, a really surprising team. I think Pittsburgh gets the win here over the Cleveland Browns. That's going to be the first game on Sunday. Then we get the Saints and the Giants. Ain't no one watching that damn thing. But I will say, garbage plus garbage equals fun football. It might be a fun game. The odds are, though, that this game is going to be absolute dog shit as well. If you have to subject yourself to watching a torture, then watch this game between the Giants and the Saints. I don't do this very often, but I'm going to do it right now. I am one of the few people that I've seen, at least whenever it comes to giving, prognostications with sports, that will do this, that will go out and be so bold as to do this. I think this game ends in a tie. Neither team is good enough to win. Neither team deserves to win. And I want the chaos of, if these two teams are going to be battling it out for the number one overall pick, I want the Giants and the Saints game to end in a tie. Just maximum chaos possible. End in a tie. That's what I'm predicting here for the Giants and the Saints, because neither one of those teams deserves to win. The Jets at the Dolphins. Washed Aaron Rodgers taking on the concussion-prone Tua Tagovailoa. I'm going to go with the Dolphins on this one. I don't think it's going to be close. The Jets are just a bad team. They're bad. Aaron Rodgers was out here blaming the Green Bay Packers organization. We don't have enough talent around me. I'm Aaron effing Rodgers. I'm the greatest quarterback that ever lived. Perhaps he's the greatest quarterback that ever lived whenever he's just gallons deep into ayahuasca. I want to try ayahuasca one day. If it gives Aaron Rodgers the confidence to think that he's the savior of multiple franchises, what is ayahuasca going to do to some schlub like me? I can't wait to try that out. Anybody know a place where we can do it? I think my friend Danny Hoban lives in Arizona. I think there's a place in Arizona we can go to. Is there a dark room? I want to do the full Aaron Rodgers experience where he was just, sipping ayahuasca in a dark-ass room and just there with his thoughts, thinking to himself, I'm the greatest quarterback of all time. I think I'm going to try this out. I don't have to worry. Is ayahuasca something that gets drug tested for? It's a tea. Huh. I'll have to look into this. I'm also self-employed. Do I give myself a drug test? Huh. We'll see. But yeah, if you choose the New York Jets here, you're an idiot. It's that simple. The Dolphins are going to win that game. It's probably not even going to be close. The Jaguars at the Titans, woof. Will Levis versus Mac Jones. Oh my God, we get a Mac Jones starting game. Look at that. Trevor Lawrence went out for the rest of the year. He should be done. Recover from that head injury. Do not come back as quick as Tua Tagovailoa and risk it for the biscuit again. Once again, this is just a bad weekend. Like, who's the person out here that's going to watch that game? The Titans and the Jaguars. And I got love for the Jaguars. They gave me a media pass last year to go to London for their game against the Atlanta Falcons. I just didn't have the funds and the time off from my job. That's why I'm self-employed now, to be able to go to London. So I got nothing but love for the Jacksonville Jaguars. They were really awesome with me. But without Trevor Lawrence, they've got literally not a shot in hell. I was going to say they got the Vince McMahon theme song, No Chance. There's no chance in hell. But I also feel like invoking the name Vince McMahon right now is probably not a great idea, and I should stop saying it. Vince McMahon. That's going to be a boring game. I don't think anyone should watch that one. The Titans versus the Jags. If someone has to win that game, then I guess it's going to be the Titans. I like Will Levis. I would have liked to have seen what they can do with Will Levis and DeAndre Hopkins, but instead they trade DeAndre Hopkins to Kansas City. They've got to give someone for Will Levis to throw the ball to. Tony Pollard's doing a pretty decent job in Tennessee. If you got to take someone to win that game, I don't think it'll be a tie, but if you got to take someone to win that game, then you got to go with the Tennessee Titans. The Atlanta Falcons on the road against the Minnesota Vikings. The Minnesota Vikings are a damn good team. The Atlanta Falcons, I don't know. It seems like anytime I pick against the Falcons, they win. And anytime I pick the Falcons, they shit the bed. I cannot stand this team. They are super frustrating to me, but I'm going to go with the Minnesota Vikings. I think they're just a much better team. Sam Darnold is playing his ass off this year. He's trying to get one more really big contract and maybe fix his legacy. No one wants to go down as one of the biggest busts in NFL history, right? I believe that's simply safe between Jamarcus Russell and Ryan Leaf. Those two have to be fighting for the number one pick right there. But if you get blessed to stay in the league long enough to try to remake your image, you do it. I think that's what Sam Darnold's motivation has been this year, along with he's got a talented team around him in Minnesota. Minnesota's going to win that game. Panthers at the Eagles, do we even have to say it? It's going to be Philadelphia. The Panthers, I like the way they're moving up. They just don't have it now. Plus, I also need them to keep losing so that way they can lose to the Dallas Cowboys. Because then the Dallas Cowboys went 4 in a row. They're 7-7, and I get more hope, and I hate the fact that I'm going to have a ton of hope with this damn team. God, I hate that I love them. Then you got the Raiders at the Buccaneers. That's going to be a fun game. Not. The Buccaneers should win that game. The Raiders are just an absolute dumpster fire. My God. You know what? They're not even a dumpster fire because at least a dumpster fire keeps you warm. They're dumpster juice. You know, whenever it gets like on your shoe or it's trailing out of the trash bag because there's someone just put something in a trash bag they shouldn't have had. So now you have a trail of garbage water following you behind. That's what the Las Vegas Raiders are, a fresh trail of garbage water. They are horrible. Tampa Bay is going to win that game. Then you got the Seahawks and the Cardinals. That was a fun matchup a couple of weeks ago. I'm still big on the Seahawks. I'm not fully bought in to the Arizona Cardinals. I don't know what it is about that team. It's not that I hate a tiny quarterback like Kyler Murray. I'm not a big fan of I don't see them being the best team in that division. I see Seattle has a shot to be the best team in that division. San Francisco's done. Basically, they're still in the race, but I feel like they're done. I'm going to go with the Seattle Seahawks here. I like Geno Smith. I like DK Metcalf. I want to see them get the ball to Tyler Lockett a bit more, but I like what I'm seeing out of Seattle. Then you got the Bears visiting the 49ers. Ugh. This would have been a good game if it was played like a month and a half ago, right? Like where we would have had, the 49ers could be good. The narrative with the 49ers has been that there's a lot of injuries, right? Like, oh my God, my team is so hurt. Every team has injuries. Every single team has injuries. The 49ers don't even have the most injuries on the injury report. I get it every single day from the NFL. The Detroit Lions have 22 injuries on their injured report. The 49ers have 21 injuries on their injury report. One team is 11-1. The other team is the San Francisco 49ers. It's not injuries. Stop making that goddamn excuse when it comes to this team that people just want to say is, I don't get it. Like, people hate on the Dallas Cowboys for being inept. Why is there no hate towards the San Francisco 49ers? Why is it that they get to have the excuse machine of, our team is injured? A lot of teams are injured. Every team is injured at this point of the season. Get the hell over it. It's supposed to be the next man up mindset, right? Was anyone out there going to be like, oh, the Dallas Cowboys season's over because Dak Prescott's hurt? No, instead it was the Dallas Cowboys season's over because Dak Prescott's in the game. Lose with your best. And that's what the 49ers are going to do anyway. They're losers. It's what they do best. Garbage-ass team. I don't even care who wins that game. God. 49ers and Bears. I want to see the Bears win that game because my hatred of the San Francisco 49ers is that immense. I'm not on the national show today. It's just me and y'all. So I don't have to worry about my bias showing all that much. Fuck the 49ers. That's simple. Glad I'm not on the national show. Then we got the Rams and the Bills. The Bills going into LA to take on the Rams on Sunday afternoon. That's going to be a fun game. I like the Rams. I think the Rams are a solid team, but the Buffalo Bills, to me, are the best team in the NFL right now. They just have it. The je ne sais quoi. That's what the Buffalo Bills have. They are a dominant team. They are doing what they need to do to win their games. They have to make sure that they win and Kansas City loses in order to ensure that the road through the AFC goes through Buffalo. And if you have to go to Buffalo to try to win playoff games against that team, the way that they are constituted, good luck. Buffalo, I believe, can travel anywhere. I don't think anybody can necessarily travel to Buffalo unless it's Kansas City with a healthy Isaiah Pacheco. That would be the only thing. And maybe Baltimore, if they can get their heads out of their ass and actually play the game the way that they know how to play the game. I got the Buffalo Bills winning that game. Their hot streak continues. Then you got the Chargers and the Chiefs. I think that's going to be a fun game. I like the Chargers. I think the Chargers are a fun team to watch. I just think that they're not where they need to be. But I want to see that defense. This is going to be your defensive game. This one right here. If you love old school games and defense and low scoring, you're getting it here. The number 1 defense in the NFL versus the number 5 defense in the NFL. Neither team is really lighting it up on offense right now. Both teams have issues at running back. J.K. Dobbins is now on the IR after a tremendous season that he's had. The resurgence that he had just can't seem to stay healthy. So the Chargers need to try to find a way to replace his action. The Kansas City Chiefs, they've just been struggling on offense all season long. What is that Jim Harbaugh-led defense going to do to this Kansas City Chiefs team? That's going to be a fun game to watch. I am all about the Kansas City Chiefs here. And then, of course, on Monday Night Football, how this game was not flexed out is insane to me. But you have the Dallas Cowboys. That's why it wasn't flexed out. It was the Dallas Cowboys. They get ratings no matter what. 38 million people watch the Dallas Cowboys on Thanksgiving just to hate watch the Dallas Cowboys. It's insanity to me. They're taking on the Cincinnati Bengals. Both teams super underachieving. Both teams had lofty expectations coming into the year, and to just watch what's happened to them has been kind of demoralizing. I think the game's going to be a lot of fun, though. I think it's going to be a tremendous game. It's going to be extremely frustrating, and that's why I'm glad I don't have a normal 9 to 5 because I am going to be hammered drunk on Monday night watching this game, just hate watching it and having to drink my sorrows away because I think that this game is going to be where the Dallas Cowboys lose. And now all the narrative about they possibly could have given me hope is going to go out the window. And if they win, they're giving me more hope, and that's going to give me more cause to drink. Maybe we get together, we find a place that we can drink at. I might check out my friends over at Undisputed Craft House. I will put it out on social media, let y'all know if that's where I'm going to go. If you want to hang out with your boy and see the Dallas Cowboys just, I'll say they're going to shit the bed. Whether they win or lose, they're going to shit the bed. Worst draft position, or they lose, and now I believe the hopes for the playoffs are completely dashed. Ugh. I hate that I love that team. I really do. I wish I didn't, but I hate that I love that team. All right, so those are the picks that I got for this weekend. We've got the Steelers over the Browns, the Giants and Saints game. I got that one ended in a tie. We have the Dolphins over the Jets, the Vikings over the Falcons, the Titans over the Jaguars, the Eagles at home, the Buccaneers at home, the Seahawks on the road, the Bears on the road over the 49ers, the Chiefs at home, the Bills on the road, and the Cincinnati Bengals more than likely get the win over the Dallas Cowboys in Dallas on Monday night. All right, y'all. Great impromptu show. I appreciate y'all that have tuned into the show, stuck with the show. Once again, on Monday, whenever we come back, we're going to be back live on Roku as well with our friends over at National Streaming Sports. I want to give a thanks over to my guy, Tommy Carranza and Medusa Designs for tuning in, commenting on the show as well. Let's share this out. Let's try to grow the audience on this. I want to have more back and forth. If I'm wrong about something or you think I'm an idiot, tell me. I don't have soft skin. Well, I do have, I'm soft. I'm lotioned up. I do all those things. I take care of myself, damn it. That's why I take care of my nuts, and my nuts are happy nuts. But I have thick skin. I'm not so much of a wimp. I won't cry in front of you. I'll just go home and cry in the shower. We'll see you all next week.
Hello, I'm Mike Tipton with a message for the ladies. Ladies, the man in your life doesn't know how to tell you this, but his nuts are not happy. Don't worry, you can make them happy by giving him happy nuts this holiday season. Visit www.myhappynuts.com/Mike Tipton and look for the perfect package that fits your man's package. From our Jingle Bells Your Ball Smell gift box that contains a Happy Nuts Comfort Cream and Anti-Chafe Comfort Stick, two of our best sellers, and a special gift your man would love to hang from the tree. To our fresh and clean bundle, our special soaps, and even our patented nut scrubber, MyHappyNuts.com has everything you need to take your man's nuts from being sad to happy this holiday season. Visit MyHappyNuts.com/Mike Tipton today and save up to 40% on the perfect package for your man's package.